last episode, I actually said I don't think Mbappe will be the biggest threat to England. I think it would be through the midfield and not forget Giroud. And that's how it started, with England doing okay, looking a little bit nervy, but the French taking the ball in midfield and a long range shot, beating Pickford, and an amazing goal from a centre midfielder. And I don't know, it didn't shock me, because I just felt that there'll be too much focus maybe on Mbappe. But in that first half, Antoine Griezmann, I've never really seen him as a fantastic player. I've seen him in fits and starts, but he really did control the midfield in that first half. He was absolutely fantastic, and it didn't matter what was happening. So if the French were defending on the edge of their own box, as it dropped, he always had the ball and picked the right pass, or just held on to it, never too long. He just did the right thing every time and really bossed that first half. And I think the commentary team on ITV of Ian Wright and Lee Dixon picked that up in commentary, and Ian Wright as a pundit, they really picked that up, and you could see it happening. But towards the end of the first half, England got a bit stronger, and were a threat themselves. Let's have it known, and they played quite well, to be fair. And young Jude Bellingham again looked fearless in midfield, doing the right things at the right time. A little bit like Griezmann, just looked really, really good on the ball, really easy on the eye. Nothing seems to faze him. But 1-0 at half-time, come out the second half, and England really took it to France, started piling on the pressure, and probably should have had a penalty in the first half. And there was some controversy about the French goal, the first goal in the build-up, whether Saka was fouled or not. But in the second half, England really took it to France, and I think they realised that maybe Southgate, I don't know, or the coaching staff said, you can get this lot. You had all these opportunities to, the goal, there was opportunity for a foul. You could have had a penalty in the first half. And I think it gave them new belief in the second half, and they really did attack the French. Some of that defending, the French defending, was absolutely shocking. The French centre-backs, they had no composure whatsoever. And England really tried to exploit that. And in the second half, Saka come into his own. I think within the 5-10 minutes of the second half, he started taking players on. He started to get a bit of confidence. He started taking the game to France. And it was his dribble into the area, his little shimmy that drew the foul from the French centre-back. But no, it's the French centre midfielder who scored the goal, that drew the foul, and a penalty was given. And it was quite right. It was clear-cut penalty, no issue. And the England captain stepped up, did his routine against his clubmate Lloris in goal, and easily buried the goal. Absolutely good penalty, to be fair. And then you thought that all of a sudden the tide was turning England's way. They had the momentum. They started attacking more. Foden, Saka really taking it to the French, but without any real clear-cut opportunities. And I think with that, the French realised that England were blowing and blowing, but not really getting ahead of steam. And then the French started to take a little bit more control in midfield, settling the game down a bit, slowing the game down. And it was a fantastic cross from Antoine Griezmann, absolutely a perler of a cross. And Olivier Giroud got ahead of Harry Maguire to score and put France in the lead. Now, there's a lot being made about Maguire, particularly for Man United. Look, maybe some of it's right, maybe some of it's wrong. I'm not sure. But I don't want to jump on that bandwagon. Giroud got ahead of him, but I'm not saying it's real poor defending. I don't think it was. I think it was just good attacking play, a great cross, and in the end, Giroud hit it onto Maguire's arm that went in, so you could see how close Maguire was. But the French went 2-1 up, and they were feeling confident with about 10 minutes to go. And then the drama really unfolded, and that's when England had to not go out for broke, really, but really start to pile the pressure on. But I was really shocked to see Saka and Foden go off for Sterling and Mason Mount, and Rashford come on as well. I didn't for Jordan Henderson. Sorry, I didn't really understand taking Saka off, and that's not me being an Arsenal biased fan. That he was threatening. He caused a lot of fear into that French defence. So for me, it was a mistake, but then I'm not Gareth Southgate. I'm not the England manager, so who am I to argue? But it was England going forward. Mason Mount did come on, and an absolutely terrible challenge in the box by Theo Hernandez that gave England a penalty. The referee didn't give it straight away. How? I don't know. He must have just been too far away. Went to VAR. And he overturned the original decision and gave the penalty to England. And up stepped the captain. He went through his same routine, faced his same club teammate, and he went the same way. I think he tried to put a bit too much power onto it, and the ball sailed over the bar. Now, I've made it clear my thoughts on England and him in particular. I don't take any glory in seeing that other player. You know, it's a major tournament. It's a captain of the country. He's got the weight of the nation on his shoulders. He will feel terrible. Look, it was unfortunate. It's one of those, and I would have, I backed him to score it, to be honest with you. But it wasn't to be, and the irony that England went out and penalties were involved again is just, you just couldn't make it up. It wasn't into a shootout, but the one player that generally buries a penalty had buried one, within the game, only, not too many minutes earlier. He didn't even get it on target. It's still going across the desert now, I think, because he hit it with some real power. And you could see the pain on his face. It was etched there. But England didn't give up, and in the last few minutes, they had a free kick on the edge of the box that Rashford took, but went over the bar. Unfortunately for England, they played well, to be honest, but it wasn't to be. And the French went out 2-1 winners on the night and progressed to the semi-final. And, a lot was made that France weren't all that good. England were quite good, but France are current world champions. There's never been a nation win the tournament back-to-back since Brazil in 1962. So let's not forget what a feat this is. And the French had about 5 players, including Karim Benzema, who would have featured in the World Cup, would have probably pushed for a starting place in that match. So, as well as England, they did really well. But, if you want to be serious about winning tournaments, you've got to win those type of games against that type of opposition. But it wasn't to be, and some heartbreak, and you could see it on the players' faces. And I thought Southgate spoke really, really well after the match. But France progressed to the semi-final. Well, what a semi-final lineup it proves to be. Argentina playing the dark horses in Croatia. And I don't think anybody can write off Croatia now. They have had a fantastic tournament. They just know how to play as a team. They've got cohesion. They play decent football. They're strong, and they never get turned over by 2 or 3 goals. And Argentina, they did blow out of steam a little bit against Holland, especially when Holland come back to 2-1. They look really nervy, so that'll be a great game to watch, and one that I'm really looking forward to seeing. But for me, my prediction, I think Messi and his mates might have just too much for Croatia at this point, and I can see Argentina as the South African contingent reaching the final. The next semi-final proves to be a really good game, doesn't it? France against Morocco. North Africa, a lot of North Africans play in the French league. You've got France that, the current world champions. They've tiptoed into the semi-finals. Some great goals by Mbappe and Giroud along the way, but they don't look unbeatable at all. And I think, Morocco not lost a game in this World Cup, so I'm not writing them off, and I think that this could at least go to extra time. I am seeing this go extra time. Do I think on the day the French will have a bit too much? Absolutely, I think everybody does. But what a semi-final it has to look forward to. Well, that's my roundup of the quarterfinals. A bit longer even than the last 16, but so much was happening in those quarterfinals, and I really can't wait to the semis. Disappointment for England. They huffed, they puffed, but just not good enough on the day. And I think it's still written in the stars for a certain Lionel Messi to end his career with a World Cup win. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, leave a rating and a review. If you'd like to be part of the podcast or you'd like me to cover a specific subject, then do contact me on Instagram at freeforallpod, on Twitter at freeforallpod, or email me at freeforallpod@gmail.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.